So guys, welcome back to another video. I've got the Mini Maxx here on the bench, or on the table, I guess it is actually. And we're going to talk about it a little bit because there's a lot of mixed reviews out there with other YouTubers and things, and I kind of wanted to throw my opinions, or my opinion in on it. So quite a few different things I've seen, and one of the big things is that it's slow. Now, granted, it is kind of slow. I even said it in my initial run video. If you guys did not see that video, I will link it down below. But in that video, it feels slow. It does. And I think the reason for that is because of the size of it. So I haven't speed tested this yet to get the actual speed, but Traxxas says it's supposed to do 30. I don't know if I believe it's doing 30, if I'm being honest. My opinion, I haven't speed tested it yet. I will do that. Hopefully tomorrow, actually, I'll get that video out for you guys. We'll get a speed test done on it, and then we'll find out what the actual speed is out on the road and just see. Now, the coolness factor of this truck is very cool, and we'll show this later in this video. We are going to size compare it to, I've got a Mojave Grom, I've got a Granite Grom, I've got a Typhon Grom, and I've also got a Mini Revo, and we're going to put those side by side. I feel like the Mini Revo is kind of going to be the closest to size, honestly, but I don't know yet. We'll have to look and see. But yeah, so far, I do like it. It is a lot of fun, but as I said, it does feel slow. There's some ways to fix that, and DoRC actually already did a video on that where he put the VXL in and got 50 miles an hour out of this thing with the stock pinion gear on 3S. Which is pretty crazy speeds for something this size. Even the Typhon Grom. I mean, the Typhon Grom is probably just as fast as that, and that thing's crazy when you watch it go on 3S. But there's a couple key things I want to talk about when I unbox this. I kind of talked about it in the unboxing video, but I didn't really touch on it too much. So one of the first things is this shock over here is actually leaking. So you can kind of see it. I mean, my suspension. I have the thickest stiffness, or the thickest spacers on there, and it worked really well. My suspension's doing pretty good still. It's only had one run though, but yeah. So, yeah, this shock came out of the box leaking. Other than that, I haven't broke anything yet as far as I know. I know I have seen a couple fellow YouTubers break some things, so I'm going to check in what they've broke, but nope, not broken here. Another thing I kind of wanted to touch on was this receiver box. And actually, we might just remove this receiver box. I think that's probably what I'm going to end up doing, is removing it and probably ballooning my receiver, because I do plan on driving this thing in the wet, in the water, and I don't want to wreck a receiver. It's a pain. They're not cheap. They're expensive. So we probably will just balloon it and then find a way to tie it into the vehicle somehow. What that is going to be, though, I'm not totally sure yet. So that will be coming in a video. Also, the Sledgehammer tires, people have kind of been complaining about those two a little bit. I thought they did all right. That might have been one of the reasons why it seemed so slow to me here, is I just couldn't get grip. My yard right now is like a big muddy mess. We got about a centimeter of snow Wednesday night, and it's Friday night, and then we drove this yesterday, so we're in the time right now here in Minnesota when we get snow and then it melts right away. So it's not exactly cold enough yet for it to stick around down here. I don't want to say the southern side because I live north of Minneapolis, but I'm kind of southern, I guess I would consider it. I'm more southern than, Mille Lacs and stuff. So we're not very far north where it gets real cold right away. Like today I was up in Detroit Lakes and it was 10 or 15 degrees, and down here I think it was 41 or 38 or something. So just kind of something to note. So we're in the wet season right now, and I've kind of got a couple RCs I've been driving in the wet, and that's the way we're going to keep it. This motor and ESC combo for Traxxas, I don't know if this was exactly the right option for this, because if we're being honest, the Mini Revo, I can't imagine, is much smaller than this. And the weight's probably not much difference, and that has the VXL 3S in it. So maybe at the end of the day, Traxxas would have just been better off making this to mount a Traxxas VXL 3S. You guys can throw your opinions in on that down below. But I feel like the VXL 3S would actually have a lot more power than this system. The system just feels, it just makes the truck feel extremely slow. And it just, I can't explain it. It just really does. So it's slow. Tires, I don't have a problem with. I think they did all right, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of tire upgrades coming for this, being it's a Traxxas. I'm sure Proline will make some stuff that will fit good. Then out of box, just had that leaky shock. And I think that was really it. That's the only problem I've had with it. I'm also not too happy. Another problem I have with this thing is that Traxxas put a full-size system in here, but we have small batteries that are going to fit in here. And I'm not sure how big of a milliamp hour battery you're really going to be able to get in here, or how small they make them, but you're going to have to do some research, or we're going to have to do some research if we put a big VXL3S system in this, so we actually can get decent run times. That's the only other thing I really have is a gripe about it. But otherwise, yeah, I've been having fun with it. So let's get the body on. Let's get some other RCs down here. And let's take a look with it next to some other RCs. Some stuff here. So that looks like a pretty good spot to leave the camera. I'm going to grab the Mojave Grom first, and we'll take a look. So here is the Mojave Grom. As you can see, the Maxx is much longer. This is with the front wheels matching up. The wheelbase is much smaller on the Mojave Grom. It is also a ton smaller in width. And then if we kind of put them, let's lay the Maxx on its back. I mean, just looking at that, you can kind of see. Let's take a look at that. Let's go grab my scale. I'm going to grab my scale too because I want to weigh these things. So we'll use the Stampede tire to kind of set them on. But let's get a weight on this Mojave Grom. 2 pounds, 2.2 ounces, and that should be without a battery. Yep, no battery in this one. Now let's get the Maxx weight. 3 pounds, 12.7 ounces. So we will keep that as a reference. We will no longer have to weigh this one. 3 pounds, and we'll say 13 ounces. We'll round it up. 3 pounds, 13 ounces. Over 3.5 pounds. That's pretty heavy. I want to leave that on there. We'll smooth that to the side. And then I will grab my next RC to compare. Now we have the Granite Grom. Here is the Maxx, as you can see. Look at those wheelbases. Look at the difference. Look at the difference in that. There's quite a bit of difference. We set them side, face to face. Wow. Yeah. This Granite is really tiny. It is a true 1/18 scale, I would say. So yeah, the Granite almost. So if we, the wheels half. There we go. Now let's get a weight on the Granite. 2 pounds, 1 ounce. Wow. Next, I know you guys don't really care to see it, but we are going to do it anyway. Here is our next comparison that you guys probably really don't care for, but I think it has to be seen because it it's a Traxxas. It's a teen. It is a true 1/18 scale. This thing, it's not a 1/18 scale, but I mean, look how tiny the Teton is compared to this thing. It's crazy. So yeah. So just look at that difference. That's from center wheel to center wheel, back wheel. Wow. Wow. Now, if we put them side by side, this thing is even smaller than the granite. Look at that difference. That is crazy. And I'm pretty sure, flip this upside down, probably just about almost set the teeth in the center of the Maxx. So let's get a weight on the teeth-in, which is going to be virtually nothing. No battery. 1 pound, 4 ounces. Wow. Just wow. Tiny little guy. So now for the RC you guys have probably all been waiting for. Now here it is, sitting next to a dirty 1/16 E-Revo. This E-Revo, funny enough, is actually brand new. It's never been ran, but it's not old. Well, actually, it is old. It's probably been sitting up there for like a year and a half. It just hasn't been ran. We haven't had a reason to run it. So that's where it sits. Looks cool. I love the purple. But yeah, so let's take a look here. Even the mini E-Revo, this thing even is bigger than the mini E-Revo. Which isn't really surprising because it's bigger. It just is. It's not a mini. Traxxas calls it a mini. Yeah, we'll get, okay, it's mini. It's smaller than the Maxx. It's smaller than the X Maxx. It's a mini Maxx. Yeah, they're right. But when Traxxas came out with this, I was assuming it was going to be a 1/18th and they were going to kind of compete with the they were kind of competing with the granite and the Mojave Grom line, but they're not. And maybe Traxxas just figured, well, let's try to trump the Grom line and let's make it bigger and better, something people really want. But guys who want really mini RCs, this ain't really that mini. This is more like, I would say, a 1/12th, 1/14th scale, maybe. So that's one of Traxxas' hangups with this thing, I think, is people are thinking it's a lot smaller than it actually is. When I first seen this in the hobby store like 2 weeks ago, I couldn't believe how big it was. It's crazy. And then it's got the full-scale system in it, which is cool. But I think at the end of the day, they might have just been better off putting the VXL 3S, 3M, and 3S small motor in it. I don't know. We'll never know because we can't get one in there because it won't fit it. But I think at the end of the day, they probably would have been better off doing that than gearing it down. I think you would have got some more speed out of it. But yeah. So yeah, guys, there's the comparison of the mini Revo. Let's put the mini Revo on the scale. Make sure our scale is still working. Perfect. So see, this thing even trumps the mini Revo for weight. It's just a heavy little big truck. It's crazy. So there is your comparisons. So, guys, when it comes down to it, what you really got to think about when you're going to buy this thing is how small or big do you want your mini? Are you considering a mini a 1/18th, 1/16th, 1/14th, 1/12th? You know, what do you consider a mini? So, now, in comparison to this, do I really think the price is that far off? $250 for this, I feel like, is a pretty decent deal. If you look at Arrma's line, Arrma has the Grom Typhon BLX and the Mojave BLX now. And as a right around the package, those are $229.99. And the thing that you're going to get with this that you're not going to get with those is this can go through grass really well. It's going to go through long grass well, as far as I would think, the way it's built. It's going to be better in those aspects. But if you're going for speed, or you're a dirt road basher, or you're someone who wants to be on cement, I think you're probably better off maybe going after the Typhon Grom, or even the Mojave Grom if you want something faster. Brushless versions, not brushed. So the price point, I think Traxxas stuck it with the price point. I think the price point is a good price point for this to be at. Yes, I wish it was a little faster, but what are you going to do? It comes as it comes, and that's how it is. So, price point, I think Traxxas is good on their price point. They're charging $250. The Mojave Grom and the Typhon, they're $229. I'm not sure if the Mojave is more or not, but I know the Typhon for sure is $229 with a battery. This is $250. You're spending $20 more. You're getting a much bigger RC. You're not getting a faster RC, but yeah. So yeah, I guess I don't know. Maybe we should compare those two in a running video, because these right now I feel like are probably going to be the two biggest brushless RCs minis out there. But I don't know. Is that really fair to do? I don't know, because the size of this is it's much bigger. So I didn't pull down my Typhon Grom to show you guys it, because just like everything else we looked at, it's bigger. Okay, it's a lot bigger. You can go online, look at the specs, kind of see the specs and things. We didn't really talk about like the chassis and the drive lines and things like that, because it was more of a size comparison. I wasn't talking about. I don't feel like it's fair to throw this up against the toughness of a Granite Grom or a Mojave Grom. I just don't. I think this is kind of in its class of its own. Do RC, he has a really good video where he compares it to some stuff, and he's got like a Smiter or something it's called. That's 1/12 scale. That's a lot cheaper than this and a lot faster. And I think that's a fair comparison to put these two together. Put those two together and maybe let them battle it out. But for me to throw it next to a Grom, if you guys want to see me compare this with a Grom, do a full comparison in depth, we'll go over the chassis and go over everything. Let me know down below, and we will do that for you. But yeah, this came with a leaky shock. It has plastic shocks on it. It's still $250, but I think for the size, that's okay money. If you want something faster, there's faster options out there for $100 more, $150 more. To make this fast, you're gonna have to spend some change. And Do RC talks about that in his video. I think the VXL3S system to drop direct in here is like $200 or $169, but you don't have to do that. You can make it fast on a budget, and we're gonna have a video coming out with that. But I want to drive it with this BL2S system a little bit more, and then we'll come out and we'll do that video. So if you guys want to see those videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to see me run this thing next to a Grom, then make sure to subscribe. Make sure to comment down below, say, hey, yeah, make the Grom video, and I'll make that Grom video happen for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I gave you some good insight on this thing, and I hope you guys keep bashing and enjoy life.